Hey there, welcome back to BoardBee. So, today I have something special. So, the last 2 weeks I've been making, let's call it some kind of improvement to NESmaker. I call it BBI Modules. This is version 1.0. So what this is a package that I made which updates every single module in NESmaker with a lot of fixes, new features, improvements, a lot of stuff from the NESmaker forum. So what I've done is I've taken all of those things and combined them into one package and also made new modules with these fixes. So we can install them side by side with the normal modules in NESmaker. So as we can see in this picture, when we start a new project, we can choose Adventure Base, which is the normal module, or we can choose Adventure BBI, which is this new and improved version of that module. So I've done that for every module, arcade platformer, brawler, and so on. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Now this is just going to be sort of a preview video because I'm going to make a tutorial series about every module here. So this is going to be a little mini series with 7 videos. But for now, we're just going to take a look at what this is and how it works. So let's do that now. So first of all, you can download this new setup from the NESmaker forum. Just search for BBI modules. So if you go all the way down on the forum post, I have a link here that you can download this whole thing. So there's also a file called credits. That file includes what fixes I have used from the forum. And I have also listed a few fixes there that I made myself that are not on the forum. But anyway, you go to the NESmaker forum and search for BBI modules, and you can download this zip file right here. So what you do, you just download it, and when you've downloaded it, just unzip it, and you end up with this folder right here. So let's just quickly look at this credits file. So here you can see these are all the things that I've included in this package. So it's over 40 fixes, features, all kinds of improvements. And it's actually a little bit more than this because I had to do a lot of custom stuff to make everything work seamlessly together. But if you want to take a closer look at this, you can find it in the credits file. Alright, so here we are, BBI modules, the folder we just downloaded. So what I have over here is I have a completely new, completely fresh NESmaker install. So this is just a NESmaker that I just downloaded. There's nothing in it, nothing special. There are no projects, as you can see. We have the normal modules, no graphic assets from any specific project, and it's just a complete blank NESmaker. Alright, so if you want to try this out, then I recommend that you also install this into a completely blank NESmaker. It works fine. It's probably not going to destroy your other projects, but just in case, just try this out on a blank NESmaker install. Alright, so let's go over to the BBI modules folder. So if I go into that folder, I can see a bunch of other folders in here. We don't have to worry excuse me. We don't have to worry too much about that because I made an install file here. I made it in Visual Studio. So if I run this file now, then I get an installer here, the NESmaker BBI installer. So what we do here is really simple. It's just 2 steps really. The third is exit. So first thing you need to do is to choose what NESmaker folder you want to install this into, because as I'm sure you know, you can have several NESmaker folders on your computer. So I'm just gonna select folder here, number 1. And I'm gonna find my NESmaker folder. It's in my computer. Let's see if I can find it. There we are. And it's E, and there we are. That's my NESmaker folder. So I just choose that folder and click OK. Now if I choose something else, like this for example, I will get an error message that this is not a NESmaker folder. So it does actually check if it's a real NESmaker folder. But let's do that. Let's do it for real. So I'm gonna go into my NESmaker folder here, select that one, and click OK. So now we can see here what NESmaker folder we have selected. So the next thing here is that in addition to these new modules, I've also included some tutorial assets and some demo projects. That means that if we select this demo projects, for example, then this thing will install a test game for every one of these new modules, so that you can just open up one of these demo projects, you can play the little test game, and you can see how everything is done. So I'm just going to select that one, and this one, tutorial assets. It's almost the same thing, but tutorial assets, that's not a complete project. For the assets, that's just broken down into game objects, graphics, stuff like that. So if you want to build your own test game based on my assets, you can install that one as well. So I'm going to select both of these two. Then I just click install. We get this little install guy, and NESmaker BBI was installed successfully. That's good news. Alright, so then I just exit this installer. So now I can close my BBI Modules folder, and now I'm going to go into my NESmaker folder here. So if we now look at the projects folder, you can see that since I installed the demo projects, they are put here in the projects folder. And of course, we also have graphics for those test games. And also, since I installed the assets, I can go down here to tutorial assets, and by default we have this one, beta tutorial assets. Now we also have 459 BBI assets. So if we go into this one, we have one for every module, so we can choose Mesen, for example, and here we have the monster objects, game objects, the inputs, and the graphics. So like I said, if you want to build your own test game, you can use some of these assets. Alright, well, let's start up NESmaker. Remember, before I installed this was a blank NESmaker folder. So after I installed it, now I have these test games. So, start up NESmaker, load a project, because now I'm going to load one of these test games. So I'm going to start at the top of the list. I'm going to start with this adventure game, Adventure BBI, this test game. Alright, so like I said, now we can just go in and see how things are done here. We can go to game objects, take a look at how the player object is set up, how the animations are set up, actions, whatever. So I think that's important if you want to see how I use these new modules. And maybe most importantly, I've added some new actions, for example. So if I go to object details actions, we have one action here called screen shake, for example. That's not in the default NESmaker setup. And also we have all kinds of new stuff here. We have new tile types like hide behind tiles. We also have a save tile here if you want to save the game. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. I have something here called a grass tile that's specific for this adventure module. So basically what it is that we can place grass tiles that we can just slash down. So there's a lot of new stuff like that. Alright, I'm just going to start this test game now so we can take a look at it. Alright, so since this is the first time I'm launching this emulator, I have to set up all of my keys here, my inputs. So I'm just gonna quickly do that. And let's see here, up, down, left, right, select, start, B and A. All right. And I also want to hide these ones. There we go. So here we are, the Great Adventure, this adventure module test game. So we're starting here at the start screen. That's to show off that it's very easy to make menus now. So here I can press select if I want to start a new game or load a saved game. Now I haven't saved anything yet, so I'm gonna have to start a new game. Now, I talked about saving. So when it comes to saving with the NESmaker here, we can't use, well, we can use it, but it won't work with the version of the Mesen emulator that comes with NESmaker. So if you want to use saving, then you have to update this Mesen emulator to the latest version. Now there is a function here called check for updates, and it does check for updates and it does download. Personally, I've had a few issues with that. So what I've done is I've just downloaded Mesen from the Mesen website, and that's just this zip file, and there's this Mesen exe file in here. So let me just show you quickly what I did. So let me just close this test game, and I'm gonna copy this Mesen exe file, and I'm just gonna go into my NESmaker folder and emulator. Now all these files are the old emulator, so I'm just gonna select all the files in my emulator folder and delete them, and then I'm going to paste in this new version of Mesen. Now if I start this version, this new version of Mesen, hopefully it works. Let's see. I think it's going to work, but it has a lot of stuff to do apparently. Okay, I have no idea what happened, but I just tried to start the new version of Mesen. It didn't start, but when I started it again, then it worked. So anyway, this is the new version of Mesen, and now if I go to my back to my game and start my game again, now it's going to launch the new version of Mesen. So as long as you place the new Mesen file in NESmaker and the emulator folder here, then it's going to work. However, like you saw me do, it can be a good idea just to delete all those old files and put the new one in there, because we don't want both versions in the same folder. Okay, anyway, now Here we go. So let me just double check. Yep, this is the new version of Mesen. And let's see. Yeah, I still have my inputs the way I set them up. Great. Right, now we're ready. So now I can start my game. Here we go. So this is the new adventure module. We can walk down, up, left, and right, of course. But I've also added diagonal movement, so I can move in diagonals like that. And to me, that just feels so much better than the standard four-way movement. All right, so what's new here? Well, I have improved the attack a little bit. First of all, I'm sure you can see that the sword is slightly animating. And also when I attack an enemy, the sword doesn't just go away. So in the normal NESmaker setup, when I destroy an enemy like that, the sword would go away. Now it doesn't. So it looks a lot better, I think. Right. So if we go down here, you can see that we have animated tiles working. So that's also one of these things that's built into these new modules. Every module can have animated tiles. You don't have to do anything except, of course, draw these tiles. And if you take a look at this screen here, you can just go to screen info and you have this thing called animated tiles here. Now, if you've used animated tiles before, you know that you can just set this to 1 and then the tiles will animate on this screen. There are a couple of things you need to remember, but we're not going to go into detail about that right now. But anyway, you can see that everything is set up in these new modules. You don't have to do any coding or anything like that to get animated tiles working. But here's a new tile. This little thing, that's the save tile. That's the whole reason we updated the Mesen emulator here. So if I touch this tile, I'm going to save the game. You could see a little flash there. The game was saved. So if I die, or if I just reset the game, like that. Now, instead of start, I can choose load. That's gonna bring me back to the latest save point. Let's try see if that works. There we go. So now I start here instead of the first screen, because this is where I saved. So you might want to do this another way with a save menu or whatever, but I just tried to do everything in a simple way, so I just added a save tile. You can just touch this tile and the game is saved like that. All right. And also remember, to get this save thing to work, you need the newest version of Mesen. All right, so here we have these grass tiles. We can just slash them like that. And then we have a normal NPC here. So nothing special there really. So let's see. Here we have a lock block, and since I have a key, I can unlock it. And here is another save tile. Another thing I've added is the walk behind tiles. So now, without doing anything extra, without adding code or anything like that, you can walk behind these tiles. So these two top tiles here are walk behind tiles. So it's just convenient to have them there by default. All right, then we have a little boss up here, and if I hit the boss, I don't know if you could see it, but there was a screen shake. So that's also one of the things I've added, like I showed you, that you can have an action that will shake the screen. But I destroyed this boss, and the this monster block went away. Now the monster block, that's actually there by default in normal NESmaker. All right, yeah, so have we got some ammo? So if I try to attack now, I don't know if you could see it, but instead of slashing with the sword, this little guy now used a wand, and that wand shot a projectile. All right, we have a hurt tile here, and I can get hurt by it, and the monsters can get hurt by it. Gonna come back to that in just a second. We have the auto text tile working right out of the box. Yeah, so that's basically it. So you can see how we have all these improvements, all these things that you can use without having to add extra code. So a lot of these things can be done from the UI. So for example, here there's a checkbox called rain effect. So if I want to have some rain effect on this screen, then I just go to screen info, click the rain effect. Now the important part about that is that I need to have a sprite in my game object tiles. My game object tiles here. I need to have a special tile here. What tile? Well, let's go to project settings, user constants, and there's a constant here called sprite rain, which is set to 111. So if I count down here, 111, that's this E right here. Now I don't want my game to rain E's, so I need to change that to this one. So let me change the palette. So I want my rain to look like this. This is tile 126. So the way I do that is just by going to project settings, user constants, and sprite rain. I just change this to 126 because that's this one, this tile. Right. So now that's all I need to do. I just need to make sure that I have a sprite tile that matches the number specified here in sprite rain in user constants. Make sure that this number is correct. And of course, need to make sure that there is actually something in that tile number. But if you make sure that those things are in place, you can just, like I showed you, go to whatever screen you want, screen info, and enable this rain effect. Don't have to add any extra code. So if I click OK now, and I run this game, and I just start this game, you can see that now we do actually have rain on this screen. And it's enabled just by clicking a checkbox. And just as easily, we can of course just disable it like that. And also fading in and fading out is also a part of this new setup. And again, no extra code. You just click this checkbox that says fade in. Okay, so now when we warp into this screen, it's going to fade in instead of just suddenly warping in. So check this checkbox, fade in. Let's see if that works. So again, I just start the game, and hopefully you could see it that the screen faded in. All right. So the point is that there's a lot of stuff like that added into these modules. A lot of improvements, a lot of things added into the AI, the UI, so that you can just click a checkbox instead of having to go to the forum and add some code from the forum. We also have palette cycling here, if you want palette cycling on a specific screen. Alright, that's the adventure module. Let's quickly take a look at the arcade platformer. So, the thing is that I've added a lot of fixes to every single module. So every single module is improved. Maybe the most important part is that if you've done some custom programming yourself, you know that the static bank 1F, that's almost completely full from the get-go, especially in the Metrovania module. So you probably know that bank 1F space is precious. Well, in all of these modules, I've followed James Ness's tutorial about moving this part of the do screen load into bank 16, which frees up a lot of bank 1F space. I think it's 15%. So that's already been done here, and that's one of the reasons that we can do animated tiles. So all of that stuff is done. Don't have to worry about that. Alright, let's start this arcade platformer. Again, we start here on the start screen, and here we go. Now we have ladders here. What I've done is I've added this thing that snaps the player to the ladder. So if I stand here, for example, and go down, you can see he snaps to the ladder like that. And if I let go in the middle of the ladder, the animation stops, or there's actually a separate idle animation. I call it climb idle. So anyway, I think it looks better when he doesn't move, when he's standing still on the ladder. So anyway, that's one of the things here. So we also have this trampoline tile, which is there by default in the default NESmaker. But what I've done is I've added this ability to have an animated trampoline. So let's try that out. So you can see that I'm bouncing on this trampoline, and it looks like it's actually animating. Now this is a trick from the forum. What this does is that this tile creates a game object here. And that fix is listed in the credits, so we're not going to go into detail about that, but that's one of the things we can do here. Also, without any extra code, we can use walk behind tiles. So here you can see that our little guy is walking behind this pattern here. And that's just a tile type that you just use for these tiles here. And then we have walk behind tiles, like that. There's also this hurt tile. The default hurt tile I think it just subtracted the life and suddenly just warped you to, or restarted the screen or something like that. Now in this new module, if I touch this hurt tile, we go into the hurt animation and then the screen restarts, which again I think looks much more professional than just suddenly restarting the screen or something like that. Alright, so what happens if I collect all these price tiles? Well, let's see. Then he goes into this happy animation, and then we warp to this new screen. Again, I think it looks so much more professional rather than just suddenly warping to a new screen. So, how does that work? Well, you actually don't have to do anything here in the arcade platformer to make that work, because when the screen is loaded, it actually counts if there are how many price tiles there are on the screen. Here we can see there are 3 price tiles, so that just happens automatically. So in this case I could just add another tile here, or another diamond price tile, and we don't have to add any code, we don't have to adjust any number, that happens automatically. So the screen load counts these price tiles. So there we go. And again, we can see we have animated tiles working without any extra coding. All right, what about what happens if I get a game over? Oh, I touched a warp tile. But anyway, now we get the chance to see that we can make menus like that. All right, let's try to get a game over. Okay, we have this game over screen, and we just restart the game. All right, so yeah, let's just see what happens. Let's try the brawler module, the new brawler module. All right, so, oops, there we go. So, the brawler module. We start off here once again with the start screen, and we can see this fist here punching this press start. This is actually just animated tiles. Again, animated tiles works in all modules. You don't have to do anything, any code setup here. So if I press start now, we start the game. The setup for the AI and the player is quite similar to the default NESmaker setup, but I've added a few things here. Now I have two kinds of attacks. I can punch and I can kick. Now they have the same kind of strength. There's not one attack doesn't do more damage than the other, but I think it looks kind of cool to have two different attacks. The A and B button. I've also added a new tile here, and I just call it trash can. So if I punch this trash can, I get, in this case, a weird looking banana, which is a health pickup. So that's a tile that I thought that was something that would be natural to have in a brawler module like this. Just a tile that you can punch, it breaks, and maybe it'll give you some health pickup, something like that. So that's a new tile. But here we also have the walk behind tiles. As you can see, I can walk behind this lamp post, and seems to work pretty well. There's a hurt tile here, and I've also added a screen shake when the player gets hurt. All right, and also diagonal movement. This is super important, I think, in a module like this. So, and also when I hit the enemy, as I'm sure you could see up here, we can see the health of the enemy. And if I don't hit him for a while, it goes away after a few seconds. Okay, we have a little glitch there, but whatever. So what happens if I had two enemies? Well, the health shown up here is going to display the health of the enemy that I attacked last. So there I got them at the same time. Oh, a Moonwalker. Okay. So now this guy has 1 health. What happens if I hit the other guy now? Okay, yeah. But you get the idea, right? You can see the health of the enemy while you're attacking him. And if you don't attack him for a few seconds, the health goes away. All right. So that's the brawler module. So kind of cool. Not perfect, but I think it's a good starting point. All right. So what about the shooter module? Let's take a look at the shooter module. So here in the shooter module, this was, I think, was the most important module to include diagonal movement. So not just up, down, left, right, but also being able to move diagonally. And of course, I did that for this module as well. So here we are at start menu, start the game, we fade in, and also when I move up and down, just made a little animation for that. All right, so I tried to optimize the code a little bit, but as you can see, we still have a little bit of slowdown. If you have made games with the shooter module before, oh yeah, I just died and we have some glitches here. Okay, let me try just a little bit more to show you. I need to concentrate there. So there we have a walk behind tile. I could fly behind those red tiles there. So let me just try to get a little bit further here. I have a few pickups here. They don't really do anything. No, come on. I don't believe it. Okay, really. Okay. There's just a thing here I want to show you at the end here. So let me just try to get a little bit better at the game. So, but as you can see, the fact that we can move diagonally makes the feeling, whoa, a lot of slowdown there. The game feels just a lot better. Now, when we got here, the auto-scrolling stops. Now, you can stop auto-scrolling in the default shooter module as well, by just setting the right edge for scroll flag. The problem with that is that if there's an enemy on that screen and you kill that enemy, then the auto scroll just continues. Now here in this new module, I added something here in screen info that it just says stop auto scroll. So if you click that, if you click this checkbox, stop auto scroll, then there can be enemies on the screen. You can kill the enemies, and the auto scroll will still not, it will just stay static. So if it's important that the screen is static, you can use stop auto scroll, the flag right there. And we can see we also have rain effect and fade in here as well. Palette cycling, yeah. So palette cycling is enabled here. And I don't know if you could see it, but let's go back to the game here. So the stars here in the background are sparkling, twinkling, and that's done by palette cycling. Same thing with this. Alright, so this is a warp tile. Now this warp tile is set up with fade out. So if I go in here, the screen fades out and we fade into this boss screen here. Now since this is a boss screen, we have, okay, let me try not to get hurt here. We have this, I can pause this right there. So here we have the boss health. And we can only see that on boss screens. Now again, you don't have to do anything except you need to have, let me go to pixel editor and just load the game objects here. So what you need to do, you need to have something set up here, some graphic here for the boss health. That's all you need to do. The rest of the just displaying that health is done automatically. Alright, so let me try to attack this boss now. If I can hit the right keys. So if you can see that when the projectile hits this boss, we can see a little kind of explosion and the screen shakes. Whoa, there was a lot of stuff happening there at once. Okay, all right. So the point was that when the boss is defeated, there are some small explosions randomly going off all over the screen, and the boss tiles goes away. Now, as you can see, the shooter module is maybe the least perfected of all these new modules, but to be fair, the default shooter module in NESmaker is kind of hard to work with as well. So basically what I'm saying is that I still have some work to do to improve this module right here. But you can see that, again, it's a decent starting point just to, if you want to have some fun, make a little shooter game like this. All right, let's continue on here and let's take a look at LR platformer. Right, so LR platformer. Is there something new in here? Well, yes, of course. All modules are updated. And right off the bat, we can see again, we have animated tiles working here on the start screen. So here we have this the same trampoline thing and the same ladder thing. The animation stops when this guy stops on the ladder. And whoops. All right. And there's another thing as well. So when you're standing on a jump through platform, you can press down and jump, and you go through the jump through platform. So stand on it and press down and jump to go through it. Again, that's a part of this new module. All right, so here we have a price block. Now that's default in NESmaker. I've just added a little bit of extra flavor to this. So instead of jumping under this block and having an object just pop up here like that, I did it this way. I gave the object a bounce, so I think it looks a little better. Instead of just this coin appearing out of the blue, now it looks like it pops out of this tile. We have the checkpoint tile here, and I think that's basically it for this LR platformer. But of course, this also has rain effect, fade in, palette cycling as a part of this. So just by enabling one of these, we can, for example, have rain effect here. See if it works on this module. Yeah, works fine. But of course, once again, I need to make sure that I actually have some rain graphics here. Right, that's the LR platformer. What about the Mesen module? Let's take a look at that. All right, so the Mesen module. Yeah, let's just start the game here. All right, so once again, I have animated tiles here on the start screen. So we know that that's working. Now for the Mesen module, I did not include diagonal movement. It's not hard to do. I actually think I included the input scripts for diagonal movement for this module, but I didn't set them up for this game. So here we have hide behind tile, so we can use that here as well. And let me just let me just get hurt. Let me see. So the screen shakes, it goes into this crazy animation, and when that's done, then we restart the screen. And again, I think those sort of things look so much more professional, looks so much better than just suddenly warping to another screen, something like that. All right, so I'm gonna collect all these price tiles, and it goes into this happy animation, and then we warp to the next screen. Yeah, so that's basically it for the let's see what happens if I can get the game over here. Yeah, then we go to the game over screen. So same thing here with the price tiles. We have these price tiles here, which are counted when the screen loads, so you don't have to worry about that. And when you collect all of the price tiles, it goes into, I think it's action state 6, which will give him this happy animation, and then at the end of that animation he warps. And of course I control that by setting up the game object here. Let's see. Yeah, action step 6, that's the happy animation. And at the end of that action, he goes to the warp. So you have to do that, but you don't have to do any coding. All right, that's the Mese module. All right, so finally, let's take a look at the Metrovania module. All right, so it's a little bigger test game here. If you just take a look at here, you can see that once again we have these same things, fade in, raid effect, but here I've also included something else called auto scroll. That's because this Metrovania module uses the new camera handler made by NESmaker. So because of that, we can use this auto scroll checkbox here, which will of course auto scroll this level. And also had this thing over here, auto scroll speed. So if we use auto scroll here, we can adjust the speed in this box. Number 0, that's the slowest, so we can have 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is the fastest auto scroll speed. So that's not something that I did. I just added it in here to the UI. The code itself was NESmaker. Oh yeah, also one other thing. I added something called extra tile. Now that's something I made. So we have tile X and tile Y, extra tile graphic, extra tile collision. So if you want to just place whatever tile after you load the screen, or when you're loading the screen. So let's say you want to have a price tile, something, whatever, right here. And you can pick that up or wherever, and when the screen is triggered and you go back to the screen and that tile is not there, then that's something that I made here. We're gonna get back to that in a later video. I just wanted to show you that it's there. Also another thing, we have menu options here. So if we go to a screen like this, this is a game over screen. I also added some extra labels here. By default, we have main game, start screen, and win screen. I've added game over and menu to this list. I've also done that here in project settings, user constants. It looked like Joe, when he made NESmaker, that it started to do this, but he, for whatever reason, stopped doing it. So by default, we have main game and start screen here, but no other ones. And they're both set to 0. Now I completed that, so GS main game, that's 0, GS start screen, win screen. So we have the same ones here in user constants that we have here in the list over here. So why is that important? Well, if you want to do some custom coding, you can just remember, for example, GS game over. If you want to check if you're on game state game over, you can just remember this one instead of remembering number 3, for example. Okay, anyway, I just wanted to show you that that's there. Now what I really wanted to show you here was that this, since this is a game over screen, that it's going to be treated as a menu screen. Same thing for start screen. That's also going to be treated as a menu screen. And if I start a new screen here, let's say, I could set that up as menu game state. And that's, of course, that's also going to be treated as a menu. Now, what's important about menu screens is that we need to go to screen info and we need to specify how many options are there in this menu. So, for example, if I go to my start screen here, and since this is a start screen, it's treated like a menu, start screen, game over, and menu. those 3 game states are treated like, well, they have menu handling. So what if we don't want a menu on the start screen? Well, in order for this cursor to appear, we need to set how many options we have for that menu. So in this case, I have start and load, so that's 2 menu options. So because I set a number larger than 0 here, the cursor will show up. If I say, no, I don't want a menu on this start screen. All right, no problem. Just leave menu options at 0 here, and the cursor won't appear. We don't have to worry about this menu thing. But if you want it to be a menu, then you need to specify how many options there are in that menu here in screen details. All right. So, yeah, let's just start this Metroidvania game and let's take a look. So, like I said, now this is a menu. We can see once again we have animated tiles working. So I just start the game, and we can see right off the bat here we have hide behind tiles like that. We have this ladder snap thing, and also this stop animation during climbing. We have hurt tiles that will hurt us. It's not just going to warp us to another screen. We can also press down and jump, like I showed you before. And also slopes. So the Metroidvania and platformer modules have slopes as tile types. Once again, you don't have to do anything. They're just set up as normal tile types. You can just start making those tiles. All right, so let's see what we have here. This is a door warp. Now, normally we have a warp tile, which when you touch that tile, you just automatically warp to another screen. And in some cases that can be useful. That can be exactly what you want. But in other cases like this is a door. I want to be able to go in that door when I press up. So in addition to the normal warp tile, we also have this door warp. And we will only warp when we press up on the D-pad. That was a fix made by, I think it was, I don't remember actually, but it's a fix from the forum. All right, so if I press up now, then I warp into this room. This little NPC guy up here. I can't reach him right now, so I'm just gonna go outside again. I'm gonna press down and jump to go through those. And you can see that I've set up the sprite HUD here. So I've actually used the 4 things that are here in the UI by default: health pickup, charge pickup, key pickup, currency pickup. I tried to do that to make more sense out of this default stuff. So when you start the game, we have health, we have currency, we have charge, as it's called here, and we have key. So when I pick up a key, this number is going to go up, for example. But this thing, charge. Now in the Metroidvania module, we have shooting, so I can just shoot like this, nothing special. But if I hold up and shoot, then I shoot this charge weapon. Now in this case, it was a bomb, and when it hit the ground, it exploded and the screen shook like that. But you can of course do whatever you want. All right, so let's go down here. Right, so again, this little trampoline, and we have this boss block here. Now this is not here by default in the Metroidvania module, so I copied it from the adventure module, And now I can't go through it, but if I kill this guy, then it goes away, and we have a random drop which landed on the trampoline here. But anyway, we have this new boss block here, which goes away when you kill all the enemies in the room. So, yeah, let me just go down here first. I'm gonna kill this guy, and I got a key. Now, here is a power-up. Now, I don't have double jump right now. Now, it looked like I had double jump there because you can actually double jump on the ladders for some reason. But normally, I don't have double jump now. Now, the jump script here in this new module actually has double jump, but it's not enabled by default. But when I pick up this power up here, this little shoe power up, first of all, we can see that it appeared up here, but now I also have double jump. So that's in the jump script itself. Now, if you don't want double jumps at all in your game, no problem, you don't have to worry about it. Because what happens is that this pickup object in the pickup script right here, what that pickup object does, let's see if we can find it here. Game object 11, that sets bit 0 here to 1 for this power up variable. So that's how the double jump is enabled. So if you don't want any kind of double jump, then you can just delete this from the pickup script, or yeah, do whatever you want. But if you make a pickup that's game object 11, then make sure that maybe this does something else. But the point is that if you want double jump, then you really don't have to do any coding. As long as you remember that you need to make a pickup that's game object 11 in this case. You can of course change that, but by default it works like that. Alright, so that's double jump. Alright, so let's get out of here now. And let's see what else we have. Right, so I'm just gonna go past this guy. And by the way, the boss blocks here, they once you defeat an enemy and the boss block goes away, then that goes away forever because the screen is triggered. Now that's a default thing from NESmaker, but it wasn't here in the Metrovania module before. Right, so here we have a breakable tile. I can't walk through it, but if I shoot it, it explodes and I can pick up this extra health. So now I have 1 extra heart up here. Alright, so now we have this lock tile. Now it's interesting because by default, a lot of modules in NESmaker had this lock tile, or had, you know, whatever kind of tiles that were there by default, and it looked like if you went to the UI, it looked like you could use lock tiles or whatever, but they didn't work because there wasn't any code attached to them. Now I'm pretty sure that for every single tile in every module there's code attached to that. So for example, if I choose lock block here and place a lock tile here, then that's going to work. Same thing here for slope, save, hide behind, whatever. So these tile types actually work. They do what they say they do. Alright, so how does this lock tile work? Well, it checks if we have a key. And right now I have 2 keys, so I can just go through it like that. And now I just have 1 key left. And this is also a permanent thing. So when I go through this, and if I go back, the lock tile is gone. That tile type was Also something from the adventure module, the original adventure module. I'll just copy it in here to the Metroidvania module. Right, so here we have another heart like that. Great. So, what else do we have here? Well, since this is supposed to be a Metroidvania game, I think it's important that we should be able to save. So, I've included saving here in the Metroidvania module as well. So if I touch this save tile, I've saved the game. So let's just try to go over here, for example, and let's just restart the game. And instead of start, I'm gonna choose load now. And I start here, exactly where I saved the game. So I think it's a kind of nice thing to have in a game like this. Alright, so is there anything else I need to remember? Well, maybe I should talk to this guy. So this is an NPC guy. Talk to him. He has nothing more to say. He's going to leave this place. Alright. So this is nothing special that I made. This is just standard stuff. Talk to the NPC. Trigger the screen so he's gone. And in fact, if you go down here, he is actually here now. There he is. All right. So, that's it. Now, another thing that's important that I've added to the Metroidvania module is transition up and down. So I've done quite a lot of work to make sure that that works better. Now, for all of these modules, like with the normal NESmaker, default NESmaker, you're gonna have a little glitch here and there, like this, for example. So I haven't fixed all those little things like that. But, for example, this is a static room. What I have done is I've added the ability to go to the edge of the screen and be able to go to the next screen. If I go back, then I go back to this screen. That also works for scrolling levels. So you can scroll all the way to the edge, and if you touch the edge, then you go to the next screen. That doesn't work on the default Metroidvania module. But also going up and down screens should work okay. Even if the screen scrolls, it should be okay. All right. Well, that was a lot, but I hope you can see what I've tried to do here. I tried to improve all modules, include as many fixes as I could, and I tried to make them work seamlessly together so that one fix wouldn't hurt another fix and so on. So here it is, and like I said, I'm going to make a quick little video for every one of these modules where we set up a test game, just to show you just very quickly how this thing works. Yeah, hope you enjoy this stuff. Hope you find some use for it. Hope that at least I've reduced the number of bugs and problems with this thing. And most importantly, I hope you have a lot of fun with this. Alright, well that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.